Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your faithful host, Let's Play Dark Souls HD, and as you can see, we have a brand new setup on us right now. I hate to say this, but for this part and the next two parts, I have to do boring retrospect, because for some reason, when I activate my voice recording program and try to capture at the same time, there's some kind of weird mix-up there that happens inside my driver that causes my audio program to crash. I'm not sure why, but it only happens when I try to capture gameplay and record audio with my microphone at the same time. So, I'm looking into it, I promise, but for now there's nothing I can do about it but record retrospect for my gameplay. So, we did pick up a pretty key item in the last video. It was the fragrant branch of yore. And we have a couple different NPCs that we can choose to unpetrify with it right now. But for now, I'm actually going to go through my stats real quick for you, and I'm also going to show you where I got my new set of armor. Now, there is this new thing called the soul memory system, and quite frankly, it pisses me off. It's basically how you do co-op in this game. It controls how you meet up with other players. It is essentially what they used to replace the soul level system that was existent in Demon Souls and Dark Souls, where if you were within the same soul level as somebody, you can play with them. However, it's totally different this time. If you see that number up in the very top right corner, I think it says like 369,000 or something like that. I can't see the screen, it's too small. But that number essentially is what my soul memory is. And I can only play online with people who are of that same soul memory. Well, I can't tell what the actual calculation is. It's unknown at this point. It doesn't say what it is, but I believe that it has to be very close to your soul memory system, or your soul memory count, in order to play with other people. There is a petition online for people to change it, and I will put that link in the description if you would be so kind as to sign it, and maybe Namco Bandai will hear us out and change it back to the way it originally worked. So, I'm actually using the halberd because it is currently my strongest weapon. I have the highest attack with it. However, I did find a really cool new shield that I was showing a second ago, and I also invested the 25 strength needed to use this, the Drangleic sword. It has that awesome thrust that the claymore has, and you can chain in a nice sweep with it, especially with two hands. It has that nice sweep that the claymore has, and it goes back and forth. So, this is a really nice weapon. It scales with a B in dexterity. It is a B scaling in dexterity, if I can even talk today. But you do need a hefty amount of strength to use it with one hand. You guys know how the great swords work in this game. If you invest the dexterity needed for it, you can simply get about 13 or 14 strength, and you can use it with two hands instead. You can sort of cheat. But, I mean, I prefer to invest all the stats needed anyways. So yeah, that's my current setup. I'm actually going to be using the halberd for this next part, and before we go warp to where we need to go, we actually need to go look at the equipment. Now the aromatic ooze, it's actually very interesting because the Drangleic sword, even though it's a special sword that needs to be upgraded with twinkling titanite, therefore it has special properties, you can buff it. I buffed it with a gold pine resin and an aromatic ooze off screen for sick damage. But let's take a look at Maulin.
Looking for armor? Everything I offer is quite dependable.
As you can see...
I'm rich! I'm rich! I don't need to go home anymore. Home? Home? Where is home?
Yeah, as you can see, he's looking pretty arrogant right now.
I'm rich!
Yeah, that's...
I'm rich! I'm rich!
That's his new dialogue. So you can see the way he's sitting, too. It seems pretty arrogant, the way he's sitting. He seems like he's on top of the world, thinks he's rich, and, this is where you get this awesome armor set. But, to be honest, I think that the reason he's forgetting about home and stuff is because it only furthers the point that I was making earlier in the playthrough, that the hollowing process is starting to get to all the NPCs. The blacksmith, if you look at him, you can tell that he looks very hollow, but he's retaining his sanity because he seems to have a sense of purpose. Now Mullen, he looks completely human when you see him. He doesn't seem to be hollowed or anything, but he's slowly losing his mind and he's forgetting everything. He forgets who you are, he forgets where home is, and then especially Kale, the guy that we found in that cave crawling around. He's obsessed with maps and he goes to the mansion after you beat the first boss. He actually has no idea what he's doing here either. He has no sense of purpose, has no idea why he's in Drangleic. So these guys are all showing the signs of the hollowing process. Now, you can, in fact, he sells only the same weapons all the time, but you can, in fact, buy the Lost Sinner's armor from him. Now, I have one of the mask, and I have one of the shackle, or the handcuffs. As you can see, it says held 1 for each of those because I bought those. I only bought those because they have a special purpose. The mask increases your equip load. It's pretty interesting. And, the handcuff increases the power of pyromancy, so I bought both of those because I figured they'd come in handy at one point. The other two pieces are just useless in my opinion. I already have the Elite Knight armor, but the armor set that I'm wearing right now is the one that's next to the Elite Knight armor. It's called the Alva armor, and it's a helm worn by Alva the Wayfarer. It's very light and offers high defense. That is why I bought it. The defense of this armor is essentially on par with Elite Knight, but it weighs a couple units less on each piece, or about 1.5 units or so. So when you stack that with defense versus weight ratio, it is much more worth it to wear the Alva armor because you can roll faster, which offers more opportunities to just not get hit at all, and you're not sacrificing very much defense. So yeah, this is my current setup. I have this awesome shield that we found with the cleric armor. It doesn't block 100% physical damage, but I upgraded it to +4. I think I have it at right now, and it blocks close enough for me, considering its resistances are just much better than the Drangleic shield. So that Drangleic sword is really cool. I like that weapon. It's essentially like having a claymore. But the only problem I have with it is that it just doesn't do enough damage. It has great scaling, and it starts off with very high attack, but it doesn't have the reach or the versatility of the halberd. Because with the halberd, you can take enemies down at a distance, and you can hit multiple enemies and do massive damage to them if they're not close to you. So I'm going to stick with the halberd for a while. We need to warp to a couple different locations right now. And let's see. I think I went to here first because I needed to go fight a boss. Perhaps. We're gonna find out. Because I recorded this last night and I threw it into my audio editing, where I threw it into my my video editing program, and as soon as I tried to add my my voiceover that I recorded, it said that the file was corrupt, and when I tried to repair it, there was nothing that Windows could do to repair it. It was just kind of frustrating. It did that. I recorded 3 parts. All of them were roughly an hour long, and each one of them, the vocal recording was corrupt for all 3 of them. So that kind of aggravated me. Yeah, this is where we're going. Okay. We're actually on our way to go fight another familiar boss. I know we just fought one that we recognized, and now we're going to fight another one that we're going to recognize from the first Dark Souls. I'm sure plenty of you watching this have already fought this boss, but I had lots of fun with this fight. Ow. Yeah, these little dudes have dark enchanted weapons, I believe. Now, they don't just have an axe that they hit like a truck with. I mean, that axe, it does hurt. They can two-shot you with that thing, especially if they do the strong attack with it. But if you run away from them, they also have something called the Bellkeeper bow. It's this tiny little thing. It's better than the short bow. Ah, It's better than the short bow, but it has more range as well. It's just a better bow. So if you can get that drop for them, I would highly recommend using it if you only have a short bow or a long bow. Because the Bellkeeper bow it's tiny. It's a tiny little bow. It looks like something Cupid would use, but it's actually very effective. It's not as effective as the bow that we're going to go get, but I think I summoned a guy that used lightning spear, which was actually pretty cool because I remember the very first time I fought the gargoyles in Dark Souls, I summoned Solaire and he was using the lightning bolts, and that was really cool. Yeah, going up there is a chest, I believe. I forget what's inside of it. I know I showed it in one of the other videos, but you have to go up there and pull the lever, which rings the bell, and that will raise the gate, giving you access to go through this mist here that will lead to the boss. It does take a little bit longer for summons to show up in Dark Souls 2, but we do have dedicated servers. So at least, you know, if you can get it to successfully blink summoning Phantom without failing instantly, there's a pretty good probability that they're going to show up. Because they actually eliminated, and the group heal in this game is awesome, they eliminated the ability to quit your game while you're in the middle of being summoned or in the middle of being invaded. So you can no longer do that. If you get summoned to somebody's world, you have to use a black crystal to get out. So there is a very particular way to do this fight for best results, and I am not doing much damage, so I actually went and switched over to the Hade Sword, because I believe these gargoyles are weaker to lightning. Now the best way to do this fight is to try and have a gargoyle focus on you, and then have one of the other gargoyles focus on your summon, if you're doing multiplayer. So this fight is very soloable, it just takes a lot of patience. So the fire attack right there is a perfect opportunity to attack the gargoyles. It leaves them wide open. Now like I told you, I actually got really lucky. He's using very powerful projectile magic, and it turned out pretty awesome, because he's doing a ton of damage to these things. The only problem you ever have to worry about is if you have 3 gargoyles on you at the same time. That's when it gets annoying. Because these things, they don't hit like a truck or anything, but when they get together on you, if you've got more than one gargoyle attacking you, you're going to die in about 4 seconds. Especially if you don't have a really good shield. And I totally sniped him with a fireball, that was cool. And I got him in the air with a fireball, that was pretty cool. Now the weakness on the gargoyles is the tail, I believe. If you attack them from behind and you are able to hit their tail, which is actually kind of difficult to hit, then you should do more damage. So that is the gargoyles, they're down. Now the rule sort of applies just like the first Dark Souls. Once you get down to the last gargoyle, the fight is essentially won. Because even though the spear that the gargoyles use does magic damage, it's strange because they themselves do not do magic damage. So you can block 100% of their damage if you have a shield that blocks 100% physical damage. Now, I remember somebody in the comments in one of my other videos mentioned to me that there were a bunch of hidden rooms in the Sentinel boss fight room, and I actually went there, and it was true. There were like 4 or so hidden walls where all you had to do was press X in front of the wall, which is like the action key, and this ring is really good. It gives you extra 2-min slots. I was really pumped to have that ring, because I'm actually about to buy some pyromancies from the guy that we unpetrify. But the whole thing about the hidden walls and everything, it opened my eye to a really new feature in this game. What you need to do is, if a wall looks suspicious, don't just attack it, because not all of them break. It's not like Dark Souls or Demon Souls where you can just attack the wall if it's fake and it'll move. In this game, they were sort of sneaky about it. You can actually hit X, or I think it would be A, maybe, on the Xbox controller. I don't know, I've never owned an Xbox, but the blacksmith hammer is really cool, by the way, or the craftsman hammer, I think it's called. This is going to be really useful for skeletons. It's a very good weapon. But yeah, hitting the X button in front of the wall will actually activate secret walls. It's really cool. I'm pretty sure I showed a couple in these next few videos with just basically wild guesses and hitting the X button in front of a wall that I think is fake or going to move. I highly recommend getting this bonfire because this next part is, if you have decent defense, this next part isn't very difficult, but you definitely want that bonfire just in case you die, because I know I did. So, this next part is, there's an NPC invasion here. It is, he's not terribly tough, but he does hit pretty hard, and he's fond of breaking your guard. Now, there are about 8 or so dogs down here, I think I counted. It's not a joke. These dogs will gank you, and once you get into a corner, there's essentially no hope. So I was going to switch to my Hade sword, but I ended up being stupid and sticking with the halberd, the slow weapon that requires careful aim. Don't be stupid like me and use the halberd, it's not a good idea. Just watch this. It doesn't get much worse than that when it comes to fail deaths in Dark Souls. I got ganked by dogs. Now I know what you're thinking. Why don't you just do what the Capper Demon taught you to do and go up the steps first, funnel the dogs there, and take them down? Well, it didn't quite hit me yet in this video. So, I know that my second trip down there, I ended up saying, you know, screw it. I'm just going to do what I learned against the Capper Demon, and I'm just going to run straight for the stairs as soon as I get down there, and that definitely improved the fight for me. So, the dogs, as soon as you get on the ladder, they come running. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was grab my souls. But see, they're already on top of you. That little cart there just doesn't help at all. It really makes the fight worse for you. So, if you get up here and get rid of this dog, and get rid of most of them for that matter. I'm getting destroyed right here. I ended up doing a bit of a tactical retreat. And he's just kind of sitting down here like, where are you going, man? Yeah. We'll go fight him in just a second, but first, I need to heal. Maybe a second time. And it's funny because the dogs aren't even the worst part of this fight. I mean, he's actually kind of tough himself. So I decided to drop down awkwardly, just kind of bump into them. Really didn't do anything for me. Now this guy, the problem with him is right there. His little guard break move, it is the worst. And that jump attack is kind of nasty too. So once you get rid of all the dogs, the fight is not necessarily easy. It's still kind of tough because he can take a lot of damage. And he's got pretty thick armor too, so staggering him is not the easiest thing in the world. Since I've got this something powerful like the halberd, even though I'm being stupid and messing around with throwing knives at the moment, with something powerful like a halberd, you can take him down pretty easily, but you just need to be careful is all, because he will do the shield bash, or the guard break move, and it'll leave you wide open and he'll stab you. So I wasted all of these lacerating knives on him. The cool thing about the lacerating knives is that they cause bleed. I'm pretty sure the bleed effect activated right there. See? He'll break your guard and then he'll stick you a couple times. So just kind of keep him at a distance if you're using something like a halberd. Watch out for the shield bash. And watch out for walls too. You'd probably be way better off using something like the Hade Knight sword in this place. But that roll. He does use Estus Flask. He ended up using it here. He popped it just in time for his health to go up to a point that'll make the fight a little more difficult for me. There we go. So, he's not necessarily difficult, but he can give you a hard time if you're not prepared. So you get I believe, from what I've heard, this place isn't called the Bastille, or the Bastille. I've been pronouncing it wrong. It's actually called the Bastille. So, we got the Bastille key. And that was an enchanted falchion up there. I'm not necessarily going to use that because I don't have any intelligence. And I was pushing the X button in front of that wall back there because that's what I'm doing now. Ever since somebody told me about the Sentinel room, I've actually found about a dozen more secret walls just from doing that. From pressing X in front of random spots, thinking that it looks weird, or if it looks like a secret or something. And believe it or not, 30% of the time, you're right. It is in fact a secret, and the wall will move. It's really crazy. There's at least 50 of those things in this level. I'm kind of exaggerating with that number, but at the same time I'm not, because there are so many walls in this very level. Like the Lost Bastille, this entire place, there are so many hidden walls that will move if you press the X button in front of them, as opposed to attacking them. So, that's just one thing to keep in mind. There's also, there's a really tricky one down in No Man's Wharf that I missed as well. But, let's see, I was thinking I could jump over there, but you cannot. Yeah, that NPC fight is not hard, but it can give you a hard time. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So we went, and we did the boss, and we got the NPC fight. And I think we need to go back now. I'm going to show the locations of the first few petrified NPCs that you will find in the game. And I'm going to show both of them to you, and I will show you exactly what happens when you unpetrify both of them, so that you guys will be able to weigh your options a little bit better as to which one you would like to use your fragrant branch of yore on. Now, the fragrant branch of yore is a very precious item, and you only get one every however long in the game. They are incredibly scarce, and the opportunities in which you obtain them are very spread out in this game. You have to go through a very individual and special kind of hell for each one that you get. Except for one. I believe one can be purchased from an NPC, but that's about it. So, we do have one fragrant branch of yore right now, and I have no idea what kind of hell I'm going to have to go through to get another one, but I'm sure it's going to take a while. The first NPC that you see in the game that is petrified, well, for most people will run into this one over here. This guy is still here, and I'm pretty sure he moves immediately after you unpetrify this.
See that stat?
Yeah.
You don't think
Gives him the willies. So, if you explored in the beginning of the game, you would know that this is here. I'm going to kill these guys just because. I mean, I don't know if they can break out of those doors, but I'm not going to chance it. Look at that damage. This is why I like the halberd. And this guy, no matter how much, or how slow you go, no matter how hard you try to sneak up on him, he always turns around. See, it's like there's no way you could have heard that. But to make up for the fact that he heard me, I'm going to get the backstab on him anyway. That is an amazing critical. The animation on that is brutal. So, if you explored Majula in your first time through, this would be the first statue that you get to that is petrified, and you cannot go any further. She's attempting to pull the lever, and it will open that door. But obviously she failed and got petrified. Now, if you use your fragrant branch of yore on this NPC, she will turn into a vendor, and the important thing about her is that she sells pyromancy, and she will upgrade your pyromancy flame. She also sells upgrade stones. But more importantly than that, she's also blocking this lever that leads to a new area. But the problem with that is there's a curse lizard right on the other side of that door, and as soon as you open it up, there's a trap. Not only do you have a curse lizard facing you right away, but all of these crazy looking doors that are up here, like whenever I decide to point the camera up there, this is why I hate retrospect, because it's what's running through my mind in retrospect is so different from actual gameplay. All of those doors up there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, there's 4 doors up there. One of those guys that we just killed here, these dead dudes, one of them will come out of each of those doors, and they will gank you. It's a problem. So I'm not going to use my fragrant branch of yore on her. And that guy, I believe, as soon as you unpetrify her and open the door, the instant you rest at the bonfire, he will disappear. I'm not sure where he goes. I'm sure it's further into that direction. I mean, it's pretty obvious because he says that he's trying to get through there. But when you unpetrify her, she will ask you to give her clothes. And the cool thing is, she will wear exactly what you give her. So you could essentially make her look like an elite knight. It'd be pretty funny. But yeah, as much as it would probably make sense for me to unpetrify her and get some pyromancies and move her out of the way so we can progress further in that direction, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to do the other NPC, because you'll notice that I kind of highlighted my bow for no reason. I think when I did this during live commentary, I was talking about how much I absolutely despised the short bow, because I do. I've had this short bow since like maybe the 3rd or 4th part of this playthrough, and I absolutely hate it. I mean, it's serving its purpose, but it's a short bow. It sucks, and we're going to do something about that. The next NPC that we're going to unpetrify is going to have a very, very nice bow for us in trade for the Dragon Rider soul. So yeah, if that doesn't get you hyped enough to go and use the fragrant branch of yore on this NPC, then I don't know what will, because boss weapons are one of the best parts of this entire series to me, is being able to get cool weapons for boss souls. You know, these guys are... yeah, these guys are kind of tough. I mean, fighting them is... it's not hard, but in numbers, these guys are just... yeah, they'll give you a headache. See, once they all start getting their swords out, the fight gets a little bit easier, because if you've got them all with crossbows, that's when it's annoying. I'm almost better just two-handed because of the thrust attack. That second thrust attack goes through enemies. It's very useful. So before I actually do end up running over to the NPC that we're going to unpetrify, there was actually a direction I wanted to show with some hidden stuff. Now the way to get to the NPC, it's the NPC that we're going to unpetrify, his name is Straid, and he's in the jail cells in the top of the tower. But getting to him is fairly straightforward. It's not hard. All you have to do is keep following the steps up in that particular building. But there's actually something that I wanted to show first. Now, if you drop off right here, there is actually a soul item right here, I think, or something like that. I can't remember what that item is. I think I showed it in the last video, though. Now, I highly recommend that you just run through here. Get full health, and pop a green blossom if you've got it. Because, I mean, stamina is stamina. The more stamina you have, the more you can run away from enemies. Now, one guy clipped me right here. God, screw those things. The mummy guys. They don't follow you forever in this direction, but, I mean, still. Having them on your tail is always bad because they do that belly flop and then they explode and it does a ton of damage. So the Bastille key can be used here at these doors that are located right outside of the Lost Sinner boss fight. Now, don't be stupid like me. Make sure you fight the gargoyles before you fight the Lost Sinner, because if you come down here to fight the Lost Sinner and you don't have the proper key to open these shortcuts, you're gonna feel cheated. Now, back there, I was looking back there because it looked like it was wood. It looked like a stack of wood, and it looked flammable. I don't have any fire arrows, but I started playing around with fireball because I see oil, and oil is flammable, causes explosions and stuff. I figured you could activate some kind of secret here if you have a source of fire. I tried aiming way back there to see if I could hit like whatever was back there. That was actually a really nice shot, but it just didn't work. So then I started trying to hit the oil on the ground to see if I could, you know, cause some kind of secret to activate. But alas, absolutely nothing that I'm doing is working, and at this point I'm just wasting fireballs. I think this was my last shot. Yeah, that was a direct hit. Did nothing. I feel like there is something there, some kind of secret, but I have no idea. So there is actually an item over here. And this item is particularly important. And again, I can't, even hitting the X button in front of them doesn't activate anything. That was a smooth and silky stone. It sounds like we've had a bunch of those, but do not mix that up for the ones that we've already got. The ones that we already have are called small smooth and silky stones. That was just smooth and silky stone. It's a larger version of it, and I'm sure it's going to be worth something better because you can already get cool stuff for the small smooth and silky stones. Well, this guy, I just decided to pelt him with fireballs because fire hurts them. We got more of these guys. And fighting these guys on the edge is a bad idea because that explosion they do will knock you off. And they're just bad to fight in general. I'm not even going to pretend like there's a good situation to fight those things when there really isn't. They're just assholes altogether. Now, the Bastille key can also be used here on these two doors. Beware of the mummy guys, though, because they're all over the place. Now, the significance of these doors serves as a shortcut so that you don't have to go running directly through the center down there where all the mummy guys come out through the sides. But the Bastille key also opens a cage with an item in it. Okay, we got a fire seed. The fire seed is a very important item. I thought it was a consumable at first, but then it came flying back to me. I was like, wait a second, I know what it is. It's actually an ore, or it's classified as an upgrade stone because it is used for the upgrading of pyromancy. There it is. You do, in fact, need to unpetrify the girl that sells the pyromancies and stuff. The girl that's petrified in front of the lever that opens that door, the one I just showed. She is the one that can upgrade your pyromancy flame. And she does sell powerful pyromancies as well. Now, I started hitting the X button in front of these walls just to see if there's like some kind of secret or something. There really wasn't. There turned out to be no secrets down here. But, I mean, based on what I've looked at and what I've done, and the secrets that I've activated, it ended up being totally worth it to try it in other locations. I need to get these guys out of the way before I start running back because, I mean, I figured I would kill them for the souls while I'm on my way back instead of just using a homeward bone. But I know that these rooms are actually the only use for the Bastille key. I probably should have read the description of the key. Looking back on it now, we could have got some cool lore information on it or something. But unfortunately, I did not. Look at how stupid I am. For some reason, I was more concerned with finding secret walls and stuff. Because I'm all about those. I'm all about those secrets. If you can find the awesome secrets, then you're going to get the awesome loot. And that is how these games work. Those big guys are so annoying. I can't stand fighting them. You know, pop a green blossom in a flask and just run. That's the best way to get through them. I wouldn't even bother trying to descend attack them because it's not going to do enough damage. You do, in fact, need direct hits with the halberd in order to do the most damage, and descending attack is not considered a direct hit because you're falling directly on top of the enemy. Okay, now we are on our way to actually go find the NPC. I just wanted to demonstrate the uses of the Bastille key because I know a lot of people are probably going to do what I did, and they're going to end up fighting the Lost Center before they fight the gargoyles, and they're going to have no way to get down there. So, I don't want that to happen. I would like you guys to, I would highly recommend fighting the gargoyles first so you can get the Bastille key, and that way you won't hit those cells and stuff down there when you fight the Lost Center and have no idea how to open them. So now we need to go to, I think it's right here. Yeah, it should be the servants' quarters. And then we're going to need to go the opposite way of the gargoyles. We're going to have to go up further into the tower where this bonfire is, and if you keep going up the steps, destroying all the exploding mummies on the way there, you will find the NPC in the jail cells at the very top. Yeah. Ah, table. Okay. It is this way. I think. I hope. Now these guys, they do the pyromancy. So can I. They got nothing on us. And they cast it really slowly. Yeah, these guys are never a problem. And this guy just kind of sits here waiting for you. Yeah, we can three-shot that guy. The halberd does phenomenal damage. Only if you can use it right, though. I mean, it's a versatile weapon in terms of just being able to hit enemies, but for doing the most damage with it, it becomes a little limited. I hate these guys. They end up killing me once in this video, I think. I thought to hit the X in front of that because it might be a secret wall, but it ended up not being one. So, yeah. Over here, you've got more of these mummy guys. I hate dealing with them. They're just the worst. If you can get the direct hit on them like that, they're easier to kill, but he fell forward, totally interrupted it. Now he's going to spam it. It's just bad. Ah, bad, bad, bad. Good time to miss with that turtle poke, too. That would have cost me the fight if he had done the explosion thing. Thank goodness he didn't, though. Yeah, I really hate fighting these things. They're just a pain. Now, in the center there, there's a few of them in the center there, and they will break out if you run past them. Yeah, you can't really see them yet, but they are in there. Now, there might be a secret wall in here, which is why I went in here. Yep, see, just by pressing X in front of that wall. Ah, I hate these guys. But when you run in here, there's nothing. So what do? You start hitting X in front of the walls again. I believe it's like somewhere on this wall. Yeah, it's like, yep, right there. It doesn't, the location never looks obvious is the problem. You really have to try to look for secrets. Now over here, let's see, what do we got? Okay. We've got some decent stuff here. This ring ended up being, okay, the bracing knuckle ring. That slows down the wearing of your weapon durability. And right there, that'll drop us back down to our original location. There's an item that we need to jump to over here. Okay, what do we got? Flame butterfly and 3 torches. I'm okay with that. Those flame butterflies are really useful for when you were too lazy to just light the location. As in, you were too lazy to use your torch and light up those little candles and stuff. Or stationary torches, we'll call them. Which I know I haven't been doing much of that in this playthrough, but I'm being honest, you should definitely do that. I keep forgetting that we're trying to find the NPC here. It's this way. I ran around in circles here because I got confused for a second. Yeah, I felt kind of stupid for getting confused here. I was like, no, that leads to the Sentinel boss room, the exploding guy. And then I finally got my bearings and started running back and was like, I knew it, it's this way. So you just have to go into this building, and you have to keep, well, this section of small buildings, and you just have to keep heading up. Up and up as far as you can. Because I remember there's a set of steps that I always miss right here. Because when you get up here, you're tempted to go outside, and then there's also a door distracting you there, and for some reason it's just really easy to miss that next set of steps there. So I believe there's an item around the corner here being guarded by one of the, I believe they're called a royal knight, or a royal swordsman, or something like that, and I can't remember their exact name. Wanted to parry him, but I was way too soon. I'm still kind of getting the parrying system down in this game since they changed it drastically. Okay, and you get life gems. A pretty good chunk of them. Those are going to come in handy. And then I'm not worried about going down there because we've already been that way. And this door right here just leads to a shortcut that is similar to the Sen's Fortress shortcut. You step inside the cave, and it'll take you down. Or, not the cave, the cage. You step inside the cage, and it will take you down. Now, these mummy guys, I highly recommend funneling them into an area that you can actually fight them. Like down here. Now, that sucked. Ugh. Dead-angled me somehow with that. I ended up taking the fight further down because they're just destroying me. Now this is terrible. This is a very bad setting. But once I get them where I want them, it's as easy as this. Now the annoying thing about these guys is not just their ability to explode, but the way that they run. Their pathfinding AI causes them to do like the serpentine. They run almost in like a zigzag sort of, and it's very hard to target them. Makes it almost impossible to hit them with a bow or ranged attacks in general. But yeah, these are just a very annoying kind of enemy. Okay, now before I unpetrify him, he's blocking the bonfire. You can't get through him, and you can't break him or anything if you try to attack him. The only option to get to that bonfire is to unpetrify him. But over here, you can use the Bastille key right here. And when you open this door, I don't know what the point is. It's just a shortcut where you drop down to the bridge. Maybe it's just to help you skip the mummy guys because they're just a bunch of jerks. I'm not sure. That's the conclusion that I'm going to go with. But there's also an item in here. Yeah, we got Petrified Dragon Bone. Those are awesome. You need that item to upgrade special boss weapons. So now, without further ado, we're going to unpetrify Straid. Now, as soon as you unpetrify him, he stands up, and then he moves out of the way. So now we can access the bonfire. I do not recommend resting at this bonfire until after you talk to him, because if you talk to him after resting at the bonfire, he will be kind of a jerk, and he will move over into a place where you have to get the attention of the mummies in order to talk to him. It's really inconveniencing because those mummies come back every time you sit at that bonfire. It sucks. So if you rest, he'll move, and he'll be standing right over here against the wall, and the mummies will try to attack you when you talk to him. So talk to him before you rest at the bonfire.
Still a bit stiff, I'm afraid. I must thank you, young traveler. I am Straid, a wandering sorcerer of sorts. I've been a guest for a very long time, but I don't think that anybody will miss me.
So if you talk to him again, he becomes a vendor. Now, the cool thing about his dialogue is that it dates back to before Drang Lake was even called Drang Lake, so he's old. I'm pretty sure he leaves as well.
Very good. Very good indeed. Cursed one, weak you may be, but I, Straid, will teach you my spells.
So the really cool thing about him is that he offers boss weapons for boss souls. But first, we're going to take a look at his wares. You can buy a couple different rings from him, but the thing that I'm really interested in is the pyromancies. He also sells really powerful hexes, which is dark magic. Those require faith and intelligence, which I have neither of. But these two pyromancies, I'm definitely going to buy both of these off of him because we're going to have lots of fun with them. The lingering flame is really good for slow enemies, but the flame swath in particular is the one that I love the most. It is so powerful. He sells rogue water, which restores HP and spell uses. It's really expensive for a consumable. It's 3k souls, but it is what it is. Now, the Ring of Knowledge increases your intelligence by 5 points. That's pretty hefty. That's a good ring. And I'm pretty sure you can equip it at the same time as the Ring of Faith that increases your faith. But yeah, he sells really good hexes, he sells a couple miracles, and he sells some moderate sorceries. But the hexes and the pyromancy are what you want from him. They are very strong. Yeah, we're going to have lots of fun with those as soon as I get some more attunement slots. I can't wait to play with them. But his dialogue is very egotistical, but when you think about it, he can back it up. Because if he can use these things that he's selling, then he has to be very powerful. And if you talk to his dialogue until you exhaust it, you sort of learn that he's been petrified for a very long time because he has no idea that this place is called Drangleic. He's familiar with it, dated back to a time before it was even called that. And the gesture you learn from him is the mock. It sort of looks like the confused, like the shrug, sort of. And if you trade, you can get boss weapons from him. Now, the reason that I can only make the gargoyle one is because you have to have the boss soul item in your active inventory. It cannot be inside your item box. You have to have it on you. But the thing that I'm going to make is definitely the Dragon Rider bow. All of the Dragon Rider weapons, mind you, that they all do magic damage, which is really cool. They hit pretty hard, even though the Dragon Rider himself uses the halberd. He doesn't hit you with magic damage. It's interesting. But, yeah, I would highly recommend either going with the halberd or the bow, because the twin blade is cool, but it has low attack, and you need a lot of dexterity for it. The twin blades are cool weapons. I've played with their moveset. Oh, wait, I was wrong. The gargoyle spear doesn't do magic damage. Oh, well. I thought it did for a second. But, yeah, we've got some pretty cool weapons here. Let's see. We've got the Pursuer's equipment. I'm telling you now, I'm probably going to end up investing into enough strength to use the Pursuer's Ultra Greatsword, because I love that thing. I have been interested in his equipment ever since I saw it, and I'm telling you now, I'm probably going to get it. Not the shield, because I'm not a great shield user, it's just a preference, but his sword, I'm going to end up using the sword. Mark my words, you will see me with the Pursuer's Greatsword. Now, the Flexile Sentry is an interesting boss soul, because you can make 3 different weapons with it. You can make a regular curved sword, which is like a scimitar or a falchion. You can make
Let's hope.
you can make an ultra curved a curved greatsword, which is like a Murakumo, or you can make the barbed mace. So the other thing he has is you can trade the I think it's the Sentinel Soul. I can't really read the screen, it's so small. But you can trade the Sentinel Soul for the Homing Soul Arrow, which is actually a very useful spell. Now, I'm pretty sure I died right here as soon as I stood up. But the only thing I got out was the Dragon Rider Soul. You cannot trade him the Soul of the Lost Sinner, because you have to hit another NPC that takes boss souls for that. And that's the interesting thing, because the boss souls are a lot like they are in Demon Souls in this game. You can go to different people, they will give you different things for those boss souls. So I'm being kind of, you know, hasty, spending my boss souls on this guy because I like what I see and I want it now. But I should probably wait until I unlock the other vendor. I just really want a new bow. So I'm going to blow the Dragon Rider Soul on this guy. These guys spam this move while they're in the cage with you. It sucks. I'm pretty sure I ended up dying out here, but I switched over to the Hade Sword so I can do better damage in tight spaces. And actually the Fire Sword. And the mistake I made was that I stopped attacking them. I started playing Turtle and they ended up just destroying me. Yeah, this right here was a nasty little gang. Yeah, that sucked. The best strategy that I have learned against those guys is to just keep attacking. Don't even give them a chance to fall over. Don't even give them a chance to start running. Just attack them. Now, if you can spawn against the wall on the far side of the bonfire, you can stand up without getting the attention of the first one. This much I learned. Right, like right here, notice how I didn't get his attention until I moved forward. So yeah. Ah! Bastards. So just, I'm running for my souls like an idiot because I need them. But yeah, just keep attacking. Don't even give them an opportunity to run or to slam down on the ground. So yeah, now that I have the Dragon Rider Soul on me, I'm actually going to trade that for the Dragon Bow. Because it's awesome, it does magic damage, and I'm sick of the short bow. It does take hefty stats to be able to wield, but we'll get it. And the Pursuer's Greatsword, I'm definitely going to invest the strength for that, probably off screen, and just not yet. Not yet. We actually need to go to a new location before I do that. So we have the Dragon Slayer, or the Dragon Rider bow now. Look at this thing. That thing is cool. It's not very big, but my goodness, the design of it is really cool. I like this weapon. It does 80 magic damage, I believe. Yeah, that's a pretty cool looking bow. Not only does it annihilate the damage that we were doing with the short bow, but it looks better. It goes way better with our setup. I'm very pleased with it. And now we've got arrows. I'm probably going to go buy a bunch of arrows, but still, it's good to have them. So now that we have that, it's good to finally have a short bow. Or not a short bow. It's good to have a better bow than the short bow, because I really hated the short bow. It just looks terrible. So, I hope you guys will make your own decision based on what you like with each petrified NPC. I obviously went with boss weapons as opposed to pyromancy in a new area, so make your choice wisely because a fragrant branch of yore is not an easy item to get. But I'm out of time, so for now, I will thank you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.